What's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Today we are back with some breaking news. This is a massive trade. This is one of the biggest trades we have seen in the National Hockey League in a couple of years. Things have developed quite quickly. The other day I posted a video talking about a potential Mikko Rantanen trade here over the next couple of weeks. Going into the trade deadline, he's an unrestricted free agent. He wants $14 million per season in his next contract, and it just didn't seem like it was going to work with the Colorado Avalanche. So I was saying the other day, expect to hear some rumors about either a contract extension closing in, or the Colorado Avalanche are going to have to decide, are they going to trade this star player like Mikko Rantanen before the deadline, or are they going to try and ride with him one more playoff run and potentially lose him for nothing during the offseason. Well, that decision has been made, as you can clearly see here on the screen. A three-team trade between the Colorado Avalanche, the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Chicago Blackhawks. We're going to break down the details of this one. Who won this trade? We're going to go over all that here today. All right, so let's start off with just breaking down the trade and going by each piece on each team individually. So we're going to start off with the Carolina Hurricanes. The Carolina Hurricanes acquire who I think most people would argue in this trade is the best player in this trade right now. And that's part of the reason I'm wearing the Hurricanes jersey here in today's video. The Carolina Hurricanes acquire Taylor Hall and Mikko Rantanen. The Chicago Blackhawks acquire a 2025 third-round pick, and they also retain 50% of the remaining salary on this season of Mikko Rantanen. The Colorado Avalanche pick up a pretty decent pile of draft picks and young players, picking up Jack Drury, a second-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and Marty Necas. So let's start off with kind of the first part of this deal, which is kind of the easiest one to break down, and that's the Chicago Blackhawks. Basically, the Chicago Blackhawks, the main piece in this deal, but also kind of the other piece of this deal, Taylor Hall and the draft picks, okay? So let's start off with what Taylor Hall kind of brings here. So he's probably going to slot in on the second or third line here for the Carolina Hurricanes. Based off of Daily Faceoff right now, they have him listed as a third-line winger playing alongside Eric Robinson and Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Now, Taylor Hall's stats have been nothing that impressive, but he's good scoring depth for the Carolina Hurricanes. He has 9 goals this season, 15 assists. That puts him up for 24 points this season. And honestly, he's actually doing fairly well. You know, there's a guy that he's going to fit in with Carolina. He blocks a lot of shots. He takes a lot of shots. He's going to be a nice fit on this team. And considering their circumstance with Carolina, it's always good to have that depth. He's definitely going to add that element, especially if he's playing on that third line, playing alongside a guy like Kotkaniemi, who's probably more of a second-line player on most teams other than Carolina. This is a good spot where, whether it ends up being Jordan Staal or Kotkaniemi that's centering Taylor Hall, both those guys can complement each other. It's not really going to matter that much. It's a good pickup. So, like I said, the rest of his contract for Taylor Hall, I think he was hoping to play in Chicago. I think he signed, he kind of wanted to go there. It just, things didn't work out. The Blackhawks are obviously rebuilding. They were able to pick up a third-round pick here, which is a pretty massive part of it. And also, they're going to retain 50% of the rest of Rantanen's contract. That's probably how this deal got done, is the fact that Rantanen's contract was able to be taken by the Chicago Blackhawks. And that's why, a lot of people, including myself, never really considered the fact that Carolina was ever really in the sweepstakes here, because the contract situation. This is the only way this type of deal was going to work. So Chicago gets a third-round pick and 50% of the remaining salary of Rantanen. It's not the worst thing in the world. They get a third-round pick for Taylor Hall, who they probably would have gotten in a normal situation, probably a fourth-round pick for Taylor Hall, honestly. But because of that added salary, they move up a couple spots in the draft. Not too bad. So that's Chicago's end of the deal. Colorado's is, obviously, there's the most assets involved here. 4 total assets going to the Colorado Avalanche. And considering Mikko Rantanen here, it makes a lot of sense why that would be the case. Now, if we're looking at Marty Necas, who I think is the biggest name to look at here, I think Marty Necas is the one that intrigues me the most. He had 16 goals, 39 assists this season so far with the Carolina Hurricanes, and that's 55 points. So he's been playing really well with the Carolina Hurricanes. This is a guy that I know right now Colorado Avalanche fans are upset. They lost Mikko Rantanen. He won a Stanley Cup with this team. He's a guy they've kind of grass-fed through the system of prospect, right, development. It sucks to lose him. But what they're getting here in Marty Necas, I think it's gonna ease the blow a lot. It's going to be a lot easier for them to accept this deal next year at this time. I truly believe that. Because I've watched Marty Necas a couple times in person during the Islanders, couple of runs with the Hurricanes in the playoffs, even during the regular season. I think he is overshadowed in Carolina just because of all the other players that are also there, right? We talk about, if you're not talking about a guy like Sebastian Aho or Seth Jarvis, like Necas is in that conversation, but there's so many other guys there that kind of overshadow him. And because he's one of the younger players, he maybe doesn't get the same opportunity or the same kind of limelight as some of those other guys. Well, he's going to be playing on the top line with Nathan MacKinnon the rest of this season and potentially moving forward here the next couple of years. That's great for them, right? Like, Marty Necas is going to come in. He is so skilled with the puck. It is incredible just how talented this guy is. And I think a lot of people are going to notice him more now that he's kind of the new guy on the block. Avalanche fans are going to be kind of wondering, what are we getting here? They're going to be very happy with what they get in Marty Necas. I truly believe that. He's going to play on the power play. He is going to be the wingman to Nathan MacKinnon the rest of the way. As much as maybe losing Rantanen sucks, hold on a minute, because I think you're really going to like this guy that they're getting here in Colorado. Now, Jack Drury is also in this trade as well. He's projected to be the fourth line center right now. He has 9 goals this season. He's not really the type of player that's obviously in the same category as Marty Necas, but he's still a good hockey player. This is another depth addition down the middle for the Colorado Avalanche. And depending on what happens here through the rest of the season, it makes a lot of sense why they would make this trade. And they would add a guy like Jack Drury to the situation. Now, there's obviously been a lot we're going to talk about here in a minute because I think there's a lot more involved here for Colorado. We'll get to that in a minute. They also pick up a second and a fourth round pick here. Those are obviously part of the package for Mikko Rantanen. Now, I'm kind of surprised, in all honesty, they didn't get a first round pick here. I know there is the Marty Necas situation, which obviously Necas is a very good hockey player. But I think had Colorado held out a little bit longer on Mikko Rantanen, I think the market would have gotten to the point where they could have probably got a first-round pick here. They could have gotten this same package with the first-round pick instead of the second-round pick. But maybe I'm nitpicking here, but that's kind of what I'm looking at from an outside view. But I think they could have maybe bargained a little bit more here to get a little bit more out of it. Those are some good draft picks they can use in another trade, which we're going to get to later. And obviously they get Necas and Drury. Okay, so now let's get to the creme de la creme of this trade. And we already talked about Taylor Hall a little bit. Let's talk about Mikko Rantanen. What are the Carolina Hurricanes getting here from Mikko Rantanen? Now, obviously, I think most, especially if you follow this channel and you're a Hurricanes fan, you've probably heard of Mikko Rantanen a time or two over his career. This is an extremely talented goal scorer in the National Hockey League. There's a reason that teams wanted... There's a lot to say here because this is a guy I don't think any of us really expected to be traded last week, right? And I think that the fact that this was a deal Carolina was able to get done so quickly is a massive win for them. And he's got 25 goals this season already. He's on pace for pretty close to that 50 mark, and especially playing in Carolina, he's going to have an opportunity to do that. 39 assists, 64 points this season. There's not much more you could ask for from a guy like Mikko Rantanen. He blocks a lot of shots. He's already coming into Carolina. He's one of the leaders on the team in block shots. So this is a player that Carolina, I hate to say needed, because not necessarily needed, because you already have Svechnikov. You already have Jarvis. But this is another type of player like Svechnikov that is just, he is a pure goal scorer. He is going to score goals without even trying. And he's going to pick up points without even trying. He is that talented. And I know that Sebastian Aho, is loving this because now, not only does he have Svechnikov on his left side, he's also going to be playing with Mikko Rantanen on his right side the rest of this season. And that is incredible. This is a move that it's not even a move they needed to make. It's a move for a team like Carolina that's making a statement to the National Hockey League saying, hey, we're for real this year. We're second fiddle to the Washington Capitals and second place in the Metro. We're coming for that top spot in the Metro. And not only that, we're looking to go on another deep playoff run here. This is our win now mode, and we want to go for it. And that's the type of move this is. Now, for Carolina, the fact they were able to pull off this trade, it really sucks losing Necas. But they are able to keep that first round pick this year, which means that could be in play. That could be in play for a trade down the line as we get closer to the deadline. If they want to add some depth, maybe they find an injury or two down the way here the rest of this month. And maybe they make that trade on trade deadline day, acquiring another defenseman potentially, or forward, or goalie, depending on whatever the situation is in Carolina. They have that in their back pocket, and that's huge. So that's Carolina's side of it. Colorado, like I said, Necas is an incredible hockey player. I love this deal for Colorado in the sense that they are getting a guy here that's going to make a difference. He is an impact player. Understand that. This is a guy that's coming in and is going to be a player right off the bat. They're really going to like this guy. This also is leading to the second part of this conversation here, which is Colorado has just freed themselves up of a decent amount of cap space. And the fact that they brought in Necas as the main piece here and not focusing on acquiring 2 first-round picks for Rantanen and going for Necas is telling me the fact that not only does Necas, obviously he's a big piece of this trade, and they wanted to get a solid player in return for Rantanen and not just fleeting draft picks that are middle-of-the-road first-round picks. They're also still seeing this as a situation where they can still win this season, right? Like, I don't think this completely deviates the plan for Colorado. And the fact that now you added a second-round pick, a fourth-round pick, you added Jack Drury down the middle, which is great, and Necas, who can also play center, but let's be honest, he's probably going to be playing with Nathan McKinnon on the top line, at least at the start. You freed up enough cap space where you can make another trade here. And that's where this situation kind of turns for Colorado, where depending on what happens, I think that's the reason that Colorado made this move now. Is this gives them enough time now that they see their cap situation with Rantanen gone and kind of the intangibles of that gone, that gives them a situation here where now, hey, listen, we've got another draft pick here. We've got, firsts and seconds and things like that. If they wanted to go out and get, say, a Brock Nelson, right? Like, that is a possibility still. And I heard crazy rumors. Kevin Weeks apparently was saying that, he took a picture of the silhouette of Pittsburgh, referencing maybe that Sidney Crosby would be going to the Colorado Avalanche. I don't know how realistic that is. Listen, if I told you when I made that video, and I posted that video the other day about Rantanen, I was kind of talking about that more speculative. I really didn't think anything was going to come of it. And just like that, things changed. So keep that in mind as we move through the rest of this trade deadline, rumors, speculation situation. Things evolve extremely quickly. And I had a video posted today talking about how JT Miller is a great fit for the Carolina Hurricanes. And if they make a type of trade here that can make this work, that would be great. And then next thing you know, well, that's completely thrown out the window. They decide to not go with Pettersson or Miller, and they end up going with Mikko Rantanen, who I had slated maybe going to Buffalo or Montreal or something like that. Things change extraordinarily quickly. So keep that in mind the rest of the way. And with that said, if you want the latest news, as things quickly evolve and change, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with those notifications on for the latest news around the National Hockey League. I'm so glad to be back. I'm really enjoying making videos again. I think I needed some time off just to kind of reevaluate everything. I've had a lot of change in my life personally, and the live streams aren't coming out as much as they used to, if at all. That's something I will try to work on, but it's just not my priority right now. I really want to get back to, at the very least, posting one video a day for you guys. And if I could do anything more than that, that's great. But I really want to get back to the basics of just getting videos back out for you guys, especially now that the trade deadline is basically less than a month away. And I will be doing a live stream for that trade deadline day. I am off from work on that Friday. It's going to be a nice 3-day weekend. I'm really looking forward to talking to you guys on trade deadline day. So if any of you are interested in that, we will be live streaming here on the channel. I'm really looking forward to that. So stay tuned for more information on that. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching today's video. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.